I can promise you he's not usually this bad. I don't know. I think he's just a little bored. Biggest thing is, do not get in front of him. We will be traveling full-time with our horses in about a week we leave for our first campground. And so I just wanted to make sure Collin is ready and that he's ready for emergencies with the horses, and in the case that he needed to handle them, that he would be prepared. How are you feeling about your challenges today?
I give myself like a 7 out of 10. I've been watching you for a long time. I've been editing the videos, which means I see all the educational content.
But this is for an emergency if for some reason I was unable to do something or I was not there.
I think I'll be good.
So you would be handling the horses on your own.
I think I'll be okay. I mean, I'm really good with Tucker. I have a
That's
little bit more trouble with Ruach just because he's not as experienced and you really need to know what you're doing with him. If I had a concern, it would be more so him, but I think I'll be all right.
Alrighty, well, let's get started. Okay, starting out, our first challenge is to put a rope halter on the horse. So you usually use the normal halters.
Right.
But I got this for you today.
Okay.
And we'll just do this with Tucker. Hi, Tucky boy. He knows.
Oh, I know how to clip the other one.
Clip.
I've only done this like once.
Clipping the other one is the most simple thing you could probably do.
I know, that's why I like it.
All right, I'm gonna just let you do it initially and then I'll help you.
Figure it out if I need to. Okay. Am I being graded on this?
No. Remember, emergency situation, so you just need to be able to do it.
Right.
Doesn't need to be perfect.
Step 1 is get your rope in order.
Yeah, and that lead rope is super long, so it doesn't make it easier. What are your parts?
Okay, all right, so the rope usually hangs underneath his chin. So...
You need to be able to untangle this though. I will untangle it for you.
Is it tangled right now?
Yeah, kind of. It's always hard to untangle these, even if you have worked with these a long time.
How about we just always have the other halters on hand? So
yeah, we will, but uh-oh, here comes trouble.
Good morning.
All right, look. I had to stick the lead rope back through and thread it this way. Nose, or strap that goes around the head, you latch here. Okay, mister, you are not the star of the show right now. You're not the star of the show.
All right, so it's untangled. I'm gonna head over and get going.
And you can just put the lead rope on the ground to get it out of your way initially.
Okay. You tuck.
Ruach, do not mess with me. All right.
So this comes up and over. Good. And then this needs to be secured.
Put it through that loop.
Like so.
Make sure it's tight. Look at the nose. Ruach, he's biting me. Stop it!
That feels pretty good right there.
Yep.
I would just loop it like that and then come back through. But I don't know if that's...
Yeah, I mean, that will work if you need it to. The way you tied it will make it hard to untie if you're trying to do it quickly. So if you tie it like going around the loopy thing and through, that way you can... Hey, Ruach, leave me alone. That way you can just easily push up here and loosen it to untie it.
Tie it on the loopy knot.
Yeah, so go around, yeah, like that. There you go. And so if you had to untie it fast, like try to untie it, you could do it relatively quickly.
Right, okay.
Good job.
Thank you.
This is what I'm dealing with as I'm filming my Ruach. If you bite me, you're gonna be in big, do not. You're gonna be in big trouble.
He's thinking about it.
He knows better.
Does he though?
Yes, he knows not to mess with me. So one of the most important safety aspects of caring for horses is knowing your knots. And so if I'm not around and Collin has to secure the horses, I want him to know the knots he needs to do. And so I'm going to make him do a quick release knot. He's never done one. I've never even showed him how to do one. And so we will see how he does with this. Okay, your next challenge is to tie a quick release knot. So with a quick release knot, the goal is to be able to secure the horse to where the horse can't get loose, but that you could pull an end of the rope and the horse could easily become untied. So this is great in an emergency if the horse is freaking out and you need to untie them quickly. Do you think I have treats or something?
I've seen you do this like a million times, but I don't think I know how to do it.
All right, well, I'm gonna let you try first. So the goal is to have the end of your rope hanging loose so that you can grab it and pull it and undo the knot.
Can I tie it to just like this?
No, you never want to tie to like a stall door because it can move. And you never want to tie to like a fence board. You always want to tie to something solid. So if the horse does pull back or freak out, they don't break it or get away. So like the wall here is fine, or
Right
like
here.
a fence post. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna try something.
Try it and we'll see what you come up with.
All right, I feel like you do this,
Except they're
and
scratching.
then
Tacky back up. Okay.
let's tighten it a little bit. I feel like it ends up looking something like that.
So what could you do with the one end of your,
This end.
what could you do there? Wait, go under. And then, no.
Did I get it?
Not quite.
Nailed it.
Well, pull the end of your rope, what would happen? It would come
Oh,
undone. But the
wow.
thing is, if Tucker
Hey.
pulled his end, it would have come undone too.
Okay.
So let me show you first. There are literally 1,000 ways you can tie these knots, like everyone does it differently, but I'll show you the way I do it. So I make like a ribbon, cancer ribbon, twist like that, take this over and through, and then I just pull it. So it does have like a bunny ear loop,
Right.
and it needs that in order to become untied, because if you don't have the bunny loop, then there's no way it can become untied if you pull this. But then if I pull, it comes undone. Look, if Tucker pulls, oh,
That's not supposed to happen, right?
hold on. If Tucker pulls,
Have you been tying quick release knots wrong this entire time?
maybe I actually have. Now I gotta get it. Did we just learn that I can't tie a quick release knot?
Don't we have like our first video on this channel is you teaching people how to tie this knot?
Well, maybe I need to go back and watch that video. Okay, this looks right. All right, there.
There we go. That seems good. Okay. Hey,
All right,
you want to
so-
walk us through that version?
That's funny because I just preached to the crowd about how you need to know your knots. And that's like the biggest thing about horse safety.
Yeah.
And this whole time I haven't been tying the knot right. All right, so what I did, I went over.
Okay.
And like I said, there's 1,000 ways you can tie it. Come through with a loop. Take this other end of your rope and go through. You gotta test it now. Yeah.
There we go. Here goes nothing. We're going to start by going over. This is a
Over.
long rope. Okay. Then up through.
Mm-hmm.
Like so.
Yep.
And then through
Yep. And
with
then
my handle. And then I need to tighten it somehow.
there you go.
Like that.
Yep. All right, now test it.
Oh, I
Pull
can
Tucker's
test it.
end and see. Pull Tucker's end. Hard, like a horse. Okay, good. And then pull the hanging end. Good.
Oh, wow.
All right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, once we figured it out. That horse out there is begging for attention. Not only is today a day for Collin to beat challenges, but it's also a day for him to face his fears. And so one thing that Collin is a little uncomfortable doing is walking behind the horses. And so we're just gonna have him walk behind the horses, both of them, just so he feels a little bit more confident. How do you feel about this challenge?
I guess you could say I have a really strong awareness of how hard horses can kick. I just feel like, they can really wallop somebody. But I do know, like, when you're closer to them, that is a safer place because they can't extend out as far.
Especially with horses that are used to standing tied like these guys. Your chances of getting kicked in the aisle like this when they're just tied, or like by them if they're tied to the trailer, is very low.
Right.
Your chance of getting kicked is higher if you're in the field with them and they don't have a halter on and you don't have control of them. Like, it's more likely that he would spin around and kick you in the field than he would you walking behind them in the barn.
Okay.
So that's just something to remember. And also be aware of in the field, because a lot of people get a little careless out in the pasture. We will start with Tucker. Do you know what you're supposed to do when you walk behind a horse?
Put a hand on him so they know where you are?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
So you can start by putting him up there if that makes you feel better.
How's it going, buddy?
Good job. He looks so small to you. Good.
Good?
Mm-hmm.
Then back the other way?
Yeah, may as well. Good job.
Good boy. I feel like I've got some trust built with Tucker.
Y'all, I can promise you he's not usually this bad. I don't know. I think he's just a little bored.
That, on the other hand, I'm a little bit more concerned about.
Okay, on to Ruach.
All right.
So exact same thing. Walk close to behind.
Okay.
He's good too. There.
Good morning. Hey, good boy. Good
All right,
boy.
and go back the other way. Good. See, they don't even really care. Okay, Collin's next test here is to lead the baby back to his field. And Collin kind of gives Ruach a bad rap. He really is not that bad at all, but I also feel like Ruach knows who he's dealing with. And since I have been working with him a lot and for a long time, he has more of a respect for me.
Right.
Compared to like Collin that he doesn't really work with a whole lot and he just kind of wants to test his boundaries a little bit.
I know I can lead Tucker, no problem. And I can lead Rue too. He just needs a firm hand, which like I don't like.
He does need a firm, assertive
I don't
hand.
like doing, but I can if I have to.
Don't mess with him.
Okay.
This is one thing I do. If he paws or gets wiggly, I do not interact with him until he stops, and then I'll go. Yes, that's a baby horse thing. That's a baby horse thing. Real quick, let's talk about how to handle him. So what are your like concerns? Like what does he do that?
He likes to just get going faster than you, so.
All right, he is actually pretty
Generally.
good with that. If he does do that, stop and back him up.
Okay.
Or just like, I mean, he's even good if you just kind of like wiggle the rope. He'll be like, oh, okay.
Another thing, well, I've seen you do where you spin the rope kind of in front of you as you're walking, so if
Yeah.
they walk too far forward.
I mean, I honestly don't think you need to do that with him now. I more so did that when he was learning to lead.
Okay.
He's a lot better now. I mean, if you feel like you need to do that, you can, but I don't think you will need to. What about him, like dropping his shoulder into your space?
I usually just kind of push him back the other way.
Yeah, you could even keep your elbow out like that to kind of block him from coming over on you.
Okay.
But otherwise, I mean, he's really good. I don't think you should have a problem. For those of you who question whether Ruach is ready to go on this trip, he's not as bad as Collin makes him out to seem. He is really good. He's really well behaved. He can do a lot of things a normal 2-year-old horse wouldn't be able to do. Like, he ties well, contrary to, you know, him wiggling around. Like, he does stand tied. He doesn't fight the rope. He also can be ponied. He can load. He's easy to handle overall. He's just very friendly and wants to be in your space, and that's kind of the biggest thing. But Collin, don't lollygag either, because another reason you're probably having your problems is that you walk so slow. Like, walk assertively.
Let's go.
You're paying too much attention to him. Ignore
he's
him.
not-
Let your
he's
rope
not
go.
coming.
Let it loose.
Okay.
Like, drop that hand. Drop your hand.
I'm trying to keep my elbow up like you
All
said.
right, get after him, like, assertively once. Like, really get after him.
It's like he starts dozing off and then he walks into
Dozing
you.
off. Well,
Like he's gonna step on me. Get over.
get after him.
Back up.
Like, hard. More than one step. I mean, if he is bugging you and he's that bad, you need to really just get
Right.
after him. Because if your hand is right here, he's gonna want to mess with it. Like, if it's up in his face, he's gonna want to mess with it. See? Because, like, I just have it here.
Okay, well he's walking behind you, which you're not supposed to do.
I mean, he's to the side and behind. I'd rather have him there than pushing me over. Because, like, we've worked to get him to where he's not on top of you.
Well, based on what I learned, you're supposed to be by their head.
That is true. With baby horses and training, you have to over-exaggerate sometimes. Because he is so on top of you all the time, for him to walk a few steps behind me and to the side, that is better.
Okay.
Especially now with these horses.
Hey boys.
So like walking fast, well not necessarily fast, but just being on top of it. We're gonna switch. All right, your biggest thing, walk assertively.
Okay, come on.
Come on, Tuck.
So this is better?
How do you feel?
I mean, he's leaving me alone.
Yeah, I mean, that's all part of it. You have to show him that you're boss. When you're kind of walking slow and constantly focused on him, you're telling him that someone else needs to be in charge. Much better. Another thing about handling horses is like you learn their nuances. And so when I've been handling Tucker and Ruach every day, I know them very intricately. I know what makes them tick, I know their quirks. Collin has worked a lot with Tucker, and we've had Tucker 8 years, so he's known him for that long. He hasn't really worked with the baby too much, so he doesn't know his nuances. And that's just something that, you know, will come with time. On our trip, we're gonna be checking out a bunch of different trails. Some may be more technical than others. We will be taking Ruach on the trails with us, and I will just be ponying him off of Tucker. I can guarantee you we will get in some situations where it'll just be more comfortable to lead both of the horses just because Ruach's still learning. You know, Tucker hasn't seen all the trails across America. And so I just want Collin to get used to handling the horse on different terrain and maybe through some natural obstacles. So the first thing I want to do is get him to go down this steep hill and work on like how do you lead in that instance. The biggest thing with leading a horse downhill is just making sure they don't get directly behind you for safety reasons. You know, some horses aren't balanced going downhill, so they'll want to speed up. So you really want to stay beside them, but also not let them get ahead of you.
Just lead him down?
Yep. I mean, Tucker will be fine with this. Should have made him do this with Ruach. Okay, well.
That was pretty easy.
All right, why don't you zigzag up the hill?
Okay. How do you zigzag with a horse? They can't exactly turn on a dime.
Yeah, I can.
Good?
Good. Okay, not too shabby. Let's go find something else. I'm also going to test Collin on trail etiquette and how to handle the horse on the trail. Because on public trails, you're out there with other people. Number one, you got dogs, usually off the leash. You got bikers, you got hikers. And so what do you do with your horse in those instances? In all actuality, horses have the right of way with all of those things, but people who don't know horses usually don't treat it like that. They don't know that they're supposed to yield to the horse. So it's really important to know how to handle your horse to avoid, number one, your horse freaking out, and number two, avoid someone else getting injured. So we're gonna go over those things too. All right, so we are on a more narrow trail just to practice what we are going to do here. So Collin, if someone is coming towards you, like head on, like I am, how should you control your horse? What should you do?
I would just get off over to the side a little bit, and then I would also keep their face facing them.
Perfect, okay, so can you move him to where someone could walk through and their head would be, and his head would be facing them?
Okay.
So you have kind of a ledge over here. So it may be safer for you to put him towards the fence, his hind end towards the fence. Because imagine if we're hiking and that's a steep drop.
Okay. You may need to back up a little.
Remember, turn on, can you get his hind end moved? Yeah, look at Collin. He knows the fence is right there. You may need to pull his head towards you a little bit.
Good. And then they can walk through right here.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you would have them like perpendicular to the path. Like you'd have his
completely
butt.
Perpendicular?
Yeah.
It's just pretty narrow here. If that really was a ledge.
Yeah, no, I know, but. Now, if someone is coming and their dog is off the leash, what should you do?
Stay calm. Don't indicate to the horse that there's anything wrong.
Yeah. What should you do with the horse? In my personal opinion.
If you're riding, get off them and hold them.
Well, not necessarily.
I don't know then.
I would have the horse just stand still. Because if you have a dog that wants to chase the horse, if the horse is moving, the dog will get more agitated
Okay.
and get more after them. But if your horse can just stand still, it shouldn't rile the dog up. Like the dog may like run and bark, but it's not gonna try and
It
come
won't
after
trigger
them.
that instinct to chase.
Right. But since we have 2 horses and one of them is a baby, it may be smarter for us, like for me to get off and hold Ruach and you hold Tucker if we face that.
Yep.
Even though Ruach's been around dogs. Got him, he just jumped out of the corn. How are you doing, buddy? You know where Smeagol is? We don't know where Smeagol is. We haven't seen Smeagol since maybe like a month ago, which is kind of sad. But knowing Smeagol, I think he is around here somewhere. I think he may just come by at night to eat. This will be our biggest trail challenge. I want Collin to lead Tucker over a ditch. So we can go over this ditch right here. Let
Right
me
here?
walk down here so they can see it more. Or here, come do this one. It's a little bit more intimidating. Biggest thing is, do not get in front of him because he's gonna jump that. So try and stay to the side. Tucker's pretty good. So
Okay.
you can go ahead and cross the ditch. Oh, wow, Tuck.
Good job, Tucker.
All right, can you come back down it?
Give him some extra.
Good job.
Good boy.
There's nothing scarier than your horses getting loose. And so I want Collin to kind of have that simulation to where he has to figure out what to do and how to handle it. Obviously, Tucker's not going to be freaking out and running around because that's like something that just is brought on by spooking and running through a fence or something. But what is the best way to catch a loose horse? And that is what we are going to test Collin on. I put Tucker loose in a little field. And Collin, what is your ultimate goal when you're trying to catch a loose horse?
To not spook them away when you're chasing them. You don't want to like flail your arms around.
Right,
and-
you don't want to cause more chaos
Right.
because you want to be able to get them.
Okay.
And so, do you know my foolproof method?
Shake a bucket of treats.
Yeah, or get food or something because that is like the fastest way to de-escalate a situation. And then when you get to the horse, what do you want to do first?
You would just put the rope around their neck over them
Okay,
as
yeah.
a temporary lead before you put the actual thing on.
Yes, alrighty, do it. Oh no, loose horse, loose horse.
Tucker. Treat.
Look at Collin.
Good boy.
That is why you use food, people. Very little risk. About a 99.9% success rate.
Oh, you're okay. You're okay.
Let them know you're there.
Come here.
Good job, I'll give that one to you. The reason I go over this with Collin is because when we went to get our sheep, the sheep got loose.
Yeah.
And Collin went chasing the sheep. But the sheep was scared of him and wanted to run away.
Right. In my defense, I was just trying to get between the sheep and the busy road that was right
That is
beside.
true, that is true.
I just didn't want it to go in the road. I don't care if it ran. Just running the other way.
So Collin's done a good job today, but I do have another video where Collin completed some other challenges and it was very funny. So if you want to check that out, be sure to click the video. It will show up somewhere here on the screen, or it will be in the description as well.